Welcome, deep divers. Ready to explore something fascinating?
Absolutely. Always up for a deep dive.
Today, we're going where ancient wisdom meets modern science.
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
We're talking about yoga, but not just the poses.
Okay, I'm listening.
We're going to look at how ancient yogis might have been tapping into the power of the nervous system.
Like way before modern science.
Thousands of years.
Yep.
We'll uncover how specific yoga techniques target the vagus nerve, a key player in our overall well-being.
I'm in. No yoga mat or neuroscience degree needed, right?
Absolutely not. Just bring your curiosity.
All right, then let's get started.
So, we've all heard of the nervous system. It controls everything we do, think, and feel.
Yeah, it's basically our body's control center.
Right. But there's a part of it called the peripheral nervous system, or PNS for short.
And this PNS, what's it all about?
It's like the communication network extending from your brain and spinal cord outwards, reaching every organ and system.
Ah, so it connects everything.
Exactly. And it controls a lot of stuff we don't even think about, like breathing, digestion, your heart rate.
All the behind the scenes action, huh?
And running right through the middle of it all is the vagus nerve, the PNS superhighway.
The vagus nerve. Why does that sound familiar?
You might have heard about it because stimulating this nerve triggers what's called the relaxation response.
The relaxation response, like chilling out.
Exactly. It reduces stress, lowers inflammation. Some people even say it helps them feel a sense of bliss.
Sign me up.
Now, at the very top of your spine, there's an area called the medulla oblongata. It's like the command center for all your vital functions.
Okay, so super important.
And guess what has a direct connection to the medulla?
I'm going to guess the vagus nerve.
You got it. And that's where the connection to ancient yoga gets really interesting.
Okay, now I'm really curious.
Because yogis, thousands of years ago, might have been intentionally targeting the vagus nerve and influencing the medulla oblongata.
Whoa, they were that in tune with their bodies.
It seems so. Let's look at some specific yogic practices to see how they did it.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, first up, deep diaphragmatic breathing, or Durga Pranayama, as it's known in yoga.
I've heard of that. It's all about breathing deep into your belly, right?
Exactly. And science has shown this type of breathing increases something called heart rate variability, or HRV.
HRV, not familiar with that one.
Basically, it's the variation in time between each heartbeat. And more variability is a good sign.
So a steady, unchanging heartbeat isn't actually ideal.
Nope. A healthy heart rate has some natural variation, and higher HRV is a sign of a healthy vagus nerve.
So deep breathing, good for the vagus nerve. Yogis were onto something.
They sure were. And it's not just Durga Pranayama. There's also Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing.
That one sounds a bit more advanced.
It's not as complicated as it sounds, but it has been shown to balance the nervous system, which also links back to the vagus nerve.
Fascinating.
Right. They seem to intuitively understand how to tweak those internal systems.
Like a fine-tuning for the body. I love that. So what else did they do to stimulate the vagus nerve?
Well, think about Jalandhara Bandha. You know, the chin lock.
Oh yeah, where you gently press your chin towards your chest?
That applies pressure to the carotid sinus, which, guess what? Modern medicine uses to stimulate the vagus nerve.
No way. Like they had an ancient hacking guide for the nervous system.
Exactly.
What about other techniques?
Well, gargling, it activates the vagus nerve in the throat area, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
There's a parallel in Ujjayi Pranayama, or ocean breath, where you slightly constrict your throat while breathing.
So they mimicked a natural stimulation technique through breath work. Amazing.
It really is.
Okay. What about Uddiyana Bandha, the stomach lock? You pull the belly in and up, right?
Yep. And modern science knows abdominal pressure can activate the vagus nerve too.
Another parallel. They really knew what they were doing.
Right. It makes you wonder how much they understood about the body.
For sure. Did they have practices that targeted the medulla oblongata directly?
They did. Spinal breathing is a core practice in Kriya Yoga. They focus the breath along the spine.
Interesting. And the vagus nerve runs along the spine too.
Bingo. Direct stimulation of the vagus nerve pathway.
Wow. Now, yogis call the medulla the ajna chakra, right? Did they have practices for that energy center?
Absolutely. Shambhavi Mudra, gazing upwards, and Kuchari Mudra, where the tongue is curled back towards the soft palate.
Yeah.
They're all said to stimulate the ajna chakra.
Potentially influencing the medulla and higher nervous system functions.
Exactly. Though we need more research to be sure.
But it's not just about the physical techniques, right? Meditation plays a huge role too.
You're right. Deep meditative states, something yogis cultivate through mindfulness and focused attention. Well, science shows they increase vagal tone and promote feelings of peace and well-being.
So they were hacking the nervous system to reach optimal states of consciousness.
It seems so.
Incredible.
So we've established ancient yogis were doing something remarkable. But how does stimulating the vagus nerve actually feel?
That's the question, isn't it? And we'll explore that next. There are reports from experienced practitioners describing some really profound sensations associated with vagus nerve stimulation.
I'm ready for the next level. Let's dive in.
There's a renowned yoga and meditation teacher, Forrest Knudsen.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
He talks about experiencing this pleasurable tingling sensation during deep meditation, almost like being enveloped in this blissful eggshell.
Whoa. Is that what it feels like to have your vagus nerve activated?
It's possible. Those sensations could very well be feedback from the vagus nerve being stimulated.
So cool. I wonder,
What's that?
is there a way to intentionally trigger those sensations?
There is. It's a meditation technique called clinical mindfulness.
Clinical mindfulness.
Yeah. And it's designed to help people quickly achieve those vagal nerve sensations.
I'm all ears.
It's actually pretty simple. 3 steps.
Okay, lay it on me.
Step 1, you got to slow down your breathing. Less than 7 breaths per minute.
Okay, so nice and slow, deep, steady breaths.
Exactly. Then, step 2, you shift your attention to subtle sensations in your body.
Sensations, like what?
Like in your hands, your lips, the back of your spine, even your skin.
Okay, so I'm sensing, feeling my body.
You're essentially tracing the path of the vagus nerve and tuning into its subtle messages.
Ah, so these subtle sensations, they're like little signals
Yeah.
telling me it's working.
That's it. And the final step, step 3, is to really emphasize sitting very still. This helps you enter something called the freeze response.
Okay, hold on a sec. Freeze sounds kind of unsettling, doesn't it? Isn't that usually a fear or danger response?
It is, yeah. But stick with me here because this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
The freeze response, it can actually be incredibly beneficial when it's accessed consciously, intentionally.
So we're reclaiming this primal response and using it to our advantage.
Exactly. And you know what? Yogis, they seem to have known this for centuries. Yeah. They've been using these techniques to basically induce a beneficial free state.
Wild. So they're reaching these profound levels of calm, almost
like some people experience during sleep paralysis.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this case, it's consciously entered and controlled.
Wow. I remember Forrest Knudsen emphasizing stillness in his meditation technique. He said even the slightest movement can totally disrupt the experience.
And that's because even a small movement, it can pull you right out of that deep freeze state, activate your sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for fight or flight.
It's amazing, isn't it? How these subtle shifts in our nervous system can have such a huge impact on our experience.
It really shows the powerful connection between our physical body, our mind, our emotions, and this whole idea of the freeze response. It ties in really beautifully with another key concept in yoga.
Oh, which one?
Non-attachment or disidentification.
Detaching from our thoughts, our emotions. I'm curious how that connects to the freeze response.
So when we go into that freeze state, we're kind of disengaging from the external world and our inner chatter. So it's like pressing pause on all the mental and emotional noise.
Exactly. It's a break. And yogis, they were onto something with their emphasis on stillness, attachment. They were using the power of the freeze response
to cultivate a deeper inner peace.
You got it. It's quite remarkable, isn't it?
It really is.
And, it puts a lot of modern therapeutic approaches into a whole new light.
How so?
Well, therapists are now using techniques to bring PTSD patients out of a negative freeze state.
While yogis have been using techniques to enter a beneficial freeze state for, thousands of years?
It's incredible. It makes you appreciate the depth of wisdom embedded in these ancient traditions.
So the vagus nerve, it's not just a one-trick pony, is it?
Nope, not at all. It's a versatile system capable of a whole range of experiences. It's not just about relaxation, the freeze response. The vagus nerve is involved in so much more.
Like what?
Well, this brings us to something called the polyvagal theory.
Polyvagal?
It describes 3 distinct branches of the vagus nerve.
3 branches? Okay, break this down for me. We've been talking about the dorsal vagal branch, the one responsible for that freeze response. But there's also the sympathetic branch, the one that triggers the fight or flight response when we sense danger.
That's the one that gets the adrenaline pumping.
Yep. And then there's the ventral vagal branch. This one's all about social engagement, connection, feeling safe.
Wait, so the vagus nerve is involved in how we interact with the world?
Oh,
other people too.
Absolutely.
Okay, now my mind is blown.
Depending on the situation, we might be in a dorsal vagal state, a sympathetic state, or a ventral vagal state. And understanding these states, it can give us valuable insight into our emotional responses.
So if someone's feeling, say, really angry, are they likely in a sympathetic state?
Most likely, yeah. And what's interesting is that anger, sometimes it's a mask,
A mask? For what?
deeper emotions, like sadness, fear.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So shifting from that sympathetic state to, say, a dorsal vagal state could actually help someone process those deeper emotions.
Precisely. It's like using the vagus nerve as a tool to navigate our complex emotional world.
I'm getting a whole new appreciation for the vagus nerve. It's not just about chilling out. It's about understanding, navigating the full spectrum of human experience.
And the beautiful thing is, we can learn to consciously influence these states through things like yoga, meditation.
Which, as we've seen, are all about stimulating the vagus nerve.
Exactly.
This is so cool.
It is, isn't it?
Okay, so we've talked about the freeze response, but you mentioned earlier that the dorsal vagal state can also be positive.
It can. Think about the awe you feel when you see a breathtaking sunset. The joy of connecting with a loved one. Even that aha moment
The aha moment.
when you have a sudden flash of insight.
I never connected those experiences to the vagus nerve before.
Those moments, deep connection, wonder, inspiration.
Yeah.
Those are all examples of the dorsal vagal state working its magic in a positive way.
Wow. Okay, I'm officially convinced. Those ancient yogis, they were true pioneers.
They were. And the best part, you don't have to be a yogi to tap into this power.
Oh, right. That clinical mindfulness technique.
Yep. Slow breathing, focusing on sensations. It's simple, but powerful.
I am definitely going to try it. I have a feeling this is just the beginning of my vagus nerve journey.
It probably is. And it leads us to a big question.
Which is?
If yogis were able to tap into this power thousands of years ago, what other hidden wisdom might be out there waiting to be uncovered? By blending these ancient practices with modern science.
What a thought. Makes you wonder what other secrets might be hidden within these traditions.
And how we can use this knowledge to unlock more healing, well-being, maybe even expand human consciousness.
That's something I'll definitely be pondering.
Me too. We've covered a lot of ground today, but
it feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
Right. But I hope this deep dive has at least given you a new appreciation for the vagus nerve, its connection to these ancient practices.
Absolutely. And it's really made me think about how much wisdom and power we all have within us.
It's all there waiting to be unlocked. So keep exploring this fascinating world. Keep experimenting.
And most importantly,
keep feeling the magic of your own nervous system.
It really is humbling,
Yeah.
to think about practices passed down for generations.
I know, right?
They might actually hold the key to unlocking deeper levels of well-being.
It speaks volumes about human observation, intuition.
It really does. Going through the research, something that struck me,
Yeah.
stimulating the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
It doesn't always require these complex rituals or years of training.
Right.
Some of the methods are so simple.
Like what?
Gargling,
Oh, yeah.
even humming.
It's true. These simple acts, singing, laughing,
Yeah.
they can have a real impact on our vagal tone, like these little boosts to our well-being that we don't even realize.
It makes you think about all those everyday activities
Nice.
that we do. And we're probably unknowingly tapping into this powerful nerve pathway.
That's what's so exciting about the vagus nerve, I think. It's like this accessible entry point to influencing our nervous system
Yeah.
and in turn our physical and mental health.
So it's not just about intense meditation or mastering difficult yoga poses.
Sure.
It's about those simple, sustainable ways to bring vagus nerve stimulation into our everyday lives.
Exactly.
I love that. It feels empowering,
Yeah,
to have more control over our well-being.
it is empowering. And it begs the question,
Yeah.
what other hidden gems of wisdom are waiting to be discovered in these ancient traditions around the world?
Wow. What a great thought to leave our listeners with. What other practices are out there influencing our nervous system in ways we're just starting to understand?
It's a whole new realm of possibility.
Well, deep divers, it feels like we've only scratched the surface of this incredible topic today.
We have.
But I hope this deep dive has given you a new appreciation for the power of the vagus nerve.
And its connection to ancient yogic practices.
Absolutely. And how much wisdom and power is within each of us, just waiting.
We encourage you, keep exploring this fascinating world. Keep experimenting.
And most importantly, feel the magic of your own nervous system.
Until next time, deep divers, stay curious.